So many of us enjoy the wildlife. It's a great part about living in the state of Michigan. We have so many different species out there. Of course, that includes turkeys for so many of us. Well, the Department of Natural Resources here in Michigan is actually asking folks to start watching out for turkeys and counting them, and also keeping note of if we're seeing a male or female turkey. It's all to sort of enhance the research we have surrounding this animal. So to talk more about this survey process, I'm joined by Adam Bump, the upland game bird specialist with the Department of Natural Resources. Adam, thanks so much for joining us here on Evening Plus tonight. Tell us a little bit about, how this survey is going to work.
Well, first, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. The survey is an opportunity for the public to get involved with turkey management in Michigan. We call it citizen science, the ability for Michigan's residents to help us out. And what we're asking is that through the month from July through the end of August, if anyone sees turkeys, we're most interested in female turkeys called hens and their young, which are called poults. And if you see a hen with babies, you can go onto the DNR website, use the search for brood survey, and there'll be a link there. We ask you a couple quick questions, and that helps us be able to track how hens are doing with producing next year's turkeys and turkeys for the future. So it's helpful for us to hear from as many people as possible.
Yeah, kind of like having, an additional team of scientists out there to help you guys, track this data, if you will. And folks may be wondering, okay, sure, I'll count the turkeys, in my area. Why is this needed? I know you mentioned it's sort of keeping track of the population. What does that enable the DNR, to do with all of that information?
Well, turkey populations can be really hard for us to track. They're hard. You can't just go out and count them all. So this data helps us see if production is keeping the population growing, if it's keeping it stable, if there's problems that are approaching that we might need to address. Maybe there's a disease issue or there's a problem with hens being able to raise poults. So having that data long term lets us see trends in that data, helps us understand how to set hunting regulations, helps us see where we might need to do habitat management efforts to improve habitat for turkeys, and just all around have a better idea of how turkeys are doing across the state.
Yeah, we love our wildlife here in Michigan, so we want to, manage it and make sure that it's doing okay and identify problems, as you mentioned. For people who may be hearing about this and maybe they're not hunters of any kind, or they're not super familiar with, okay, male, female, baby turkey, what's your advice for them on that point to, be highlighting kind of via gender as you guys are looking for?
Well, the easiest way for male and female is that females tend to be brown. This time of year, they're usually going to have little young chicks with them or poults. Males tend to look much darker. They're much larger, and male turkeys have a beard, so they have a little bit of a it almost looks like hair tuft that comes out of the center of their chest. So if you're seeing that, that's a male turkey. We will take reports on all kinds of turkeys, but we're most interested in the hens and hens that either do or do not have young with them.
Gotcha. Okay. And I was reading through some of the instructions. This is really simple to do. I think we've got a graphic that we can pull up, guys. Just hopping over to michigan.gov/turkey. You're answering a couple questions. It really shouldn't take long. Any guidance there, Adam, on, folks who do want to participate and provide their observations?
I think that's really it's that simple. You just go to that link. You just click one more link and there'll be some very easy questions. You can answer those. You only need to report turkeys once. So if you think you're seeing the same turkeys come through your yard, you don't have to report those again. But anytime you see them during those 2 months, it'd be really helpful. I did pull a little bit of data, and I see the top 5 counties in Michigan. The top 4 are on the east side. Kent County comes in as 5th. So we could use some more submissions from Kent County.
Well, we appreciate that. We're proud to be reporting those turkey numbers. Anything else for folks to know about this? This is so important to all of that research and data collection, but any other, big interesting points about this for folks to know at home?
I think one of the interesting things is urban turkey situation. So knowing about urban turkeys is important for us because we actually are getting an increase in turkeys that live in suburban and urban areas. And we're starting to work on strategies for helping people live with turkeys and manage urban turkeys. Sometimes they can be amazing and cool to watch, but other times they kind of become a little bit of a problem, sometimes usually in the spring. So having that data in urban and suburban areas helps us with figuring out where do we want to go with those urban turkey populations.
Gotcha. Very, very interesting. Who knew? Urban turkey populations. All right, cool. Well, Adam, thanks so much for talking with us about this. Again, michigan.gov/turkey is where folks can fill out that survey. It's quick. You guys are mostly looking for, females and baby turkeys, but any, turkey sightings is helpful for this research. Adam, we appreciate you joining us from the Department of Natural Resources, and we'll continue to bring this up as it continues through the end of August. Thanks so much for being here on Evening Plus.
Thanks for having me.